So we study humans, and we do that in a few different ways. One is by studying their behavior. So we get people into the lab all the time to play video games, and by looking at their performance, we can measure kind of how they think about different things like color and shapes and such. We also measure brain activity in two different ways. We study EEG, which is where we measure electrical signals on your scalp, and we can use those signals to learn about what you're thinking. And we also study the brain using fMRI.
In the psychology department, we have a lot of really amazing faculty. One of my favorite classes that I took was abnormal psychology, which gives you a really good overview of the different disorders, which is kind of the more glamorous side of psychology that everyone's really interested in. So definitely if you want to round yourself out, I think that psych classes are a really good option.
For example, one of the classes I teach is cognitive neuroscience, and I get a lot of interest from computer science, kinesiology, biology, because it's a cross-disciplinary field, and there are a number of classes in psychology that touch on other fields.
So we are the Attention, Reasoning, and Creativity Lab, and what we do is we look at how little individual differences like attention or working memory, these various aspects of cognition impact people's ability to solve problems, whether those problems are like math problems, reasoning problems like logic types of things, or creative problems.
Undergraduates are integral to all of our work. We, during the semester, have a lot of undergraduates that do really all of the real work in the lab. They collect the data. I have some undergraduates that do an honors thesis in the lab, which is always really fun because they get to present their work at conferences oftentimes.
My research area is working with custodial grandfamilies, which are grandparents that raise their grandchildren and also the grandkids in those families. It's a very, very prevalent population. There are over 4.5 million kids in the United States who are living with their grandparents. But despite it being so prevalent, it's really understudied.
Here in the Memory and Metamemory Lab, we study memory and mostly all the ways that your memory can fail. We also study metamemory, which is what you know about your own memory. So we do a lot of different studies that investigates how you know when you've learned something well enough for a test, or whether or not you've put the right answer down on a test and that kind of thing.
Well, I think the faculty in the psychology department all get along very well, and it's a very collegial feel as well. Everyone seems to get along really well.